Hi, and welcome to the 11th video in our Cybersecurity Lab for Beginners series. In the last couple videos, we went through OpenVAS, how to install it, and how to run scans. But eventually what's going to happen is you're going to keep running these scans, and then one day you're going to go do a scan, and it's going to tell you that your feeds are out of date and that you can't launch a scan. So today I'm going to show you guys how you can update your feeds, and actually you're going to want to keep them up to date much before they actually tell you that they're out of date and you can't launch a scan anymore. So to actually go look at the different feeds here, we're going to click on administration on the left hand side here and then click on feed status. And here you're going to see all the different feeds. So let's actually just go through these first, and I'll explain to you what these are, and then we're actually going to see on how we can actually update these, because as you can tell, mine are actually like 15 days old and 22 days old. So really you're going to want to keep these up to date, because the NVTs are the network vulnerability tests. So these are going to be what we're actually performing to be able actually to detect if we have these vulnerabilities. And what these are going to also have, these are going to have SCAP data, which this will actually provide us the CVEs and the CPEs. Now, you guys might be familiar already with what a CVE is, which is a common vulnerability. So the CVEs are the common vulnerability enumerations, which these are going to be published online. Every time that there's a vulnerability found and it gets published with a CVE number, which is usually CVE dash the year that the vulnerability is found, and then dash another number, which is the unique ID. And then we have CPEs, which those you might not have heard before, but these are common platform enumerations. So this is going to be something like the detection of you have Ubuntu 22.04, you are using Windows. It's going to be the enumeration of the different platforms that you're using or the OSs that you're using. And then we have the CERTs, or otherwise known as Computer Emergency Response Team. So these are actually researchers based out of Germany and a few other countries that actually come up with the recommendations that you should do for vulnerabilities, the mitigations that you can do. They also find vulnerabilities as well. So we actually download that as well. And then we have the GVMD data. Now GVMD stands for Greenbone Vulnerability Management Daemon. Now, this is going to be the compliance policies, port list, report formats, and scan configs, as you can see here. This is more related directly to the Greenbone management system. And what's really nice is all of these are actually clickable. So you can actually go see what these are. So if we actually go see the NVTs here, the network vulnerability tests, we can actually see a bunch of these different vulnerability checks and the CVEs that are related. So if we actually click on one, it'll actually give you a bunch of different detail, like the CVSS score, the insights into it, which is the different CVEs as well, what the detection method is and the quality of detection, the OSs that are implied, and the fix for it. And then we also get the reference for the CVE and the CERT references as well as if they have any kind of like articles that are related to that from the developer or the vendor itself as well. So this is like super handy to go through, and you can easily go through here and you can find them in the security information on the left hand side. So here we can see the different CVEs, as you can tell, the 2025, and then you can see all the unique IDs. So right now total there's 9,999 CVEs in the OpenVAS, or what I've already actually downloaded so far, because this is going to be updated once we run the updates. And then we have the CPEs here, which this is where you're going to see the web reinvent here, but there are a bunch of them. But here you would also see your Linux kernels, your Ubuntu's, everything like that. And then we have the assert bun advisories, which these are going to be the different advisories from those researchers. And then as you can tell, the language of these, I believe that they are mostly based out of Germany. But that is that. So we can easily tell in our feed statuses that they are old. So let's go ahead and let's update them. So how we would actually update them here is by opening up a terminal window here. So let's go ahead, let's open up a terminal, and we are going to type in sudo space -u space _jvm space greenbone -feed -sync space -- space gvmd _data, and we're going to hit enter. It's going to prompt you for your password here, so we're just going to put in our password. And now basically what it does, it's actually going to go ahead and start that update of the GVMD data. Now we're going to have to do that, of course, for the cert, SCAP, and NVTs. So all we're going to do is we're going to hit up arrow, and we're going to then, instead of GVMD _data, we are going to put CERT. And these will take a few minutes to just go ahead and do. And then the SCAP usually takes a little bit longer because these are CVEs and CPEs that they're downloading. And there's always kind of a bunch of different CPEs. But as we can actually see, it is actually locked here because we are already updating the CERTs. So these will actually take time. So let's go ahead and we're just going to actually exit out of that. And we're going to pause the recording because this can take some time. But then we're going to do the SCAPs, and then we're going to do the NVTs. So let's just go ahead and let's wait a little bit, and we will tackle that once it becomes available, which actually it looks like it's available now. So we can actually just go ahead and do the SCAP. So we can actually already tell our GVMD data and our CERT data is actually already current now for October 24th, which today is October 25th. So the last update comes from yesterday, which is perfect. So now we are updating the SCAP data. So SCAP data usually takes a little bit longer from what I've noticed in my own experience. So here we will actually be able to pause the recording and come back for us to do that NVT update in a little bit. All right, as we can see that the SCAP data has now released that lock here. But as we can still see, the update is still in progress here. Now, to update the NVTs, what you might actually think is you might just think we need to change the type again and change that to NVT. Now, if you tried this, it will actually work, but you would actually use a slightly different one as well for the NVT sync. You can actually use a different command. So we're just going to wait till this is all done, and I will show you guys that other command that you can run. Of course, the type NVT will still work, but there is a different command that you can actually do for that NVT sync as well. So let's go ahead and let's just wait for that to actually finish. Once again, this one kind of takes a little bit less time than the SCAP data, but a little bit more time than the other one. So we're just going to pause that, and we are going to come back once it is all complete. All right, so now that the NVT sync is complete that way, the other way that we can actually do the NVT sync is we can remove NVT and we can remove the -- type. And where it says greenbone -feed -sync, change the word feed to NVT. So it's going to be greenbone -NVT -sync. And you can actually run the sync that way as well, which is going to do the exact same sync. So if you have issues with the -- type NVT, if it's giving you an error, just try the greenbone -NVT -sync. And that should actually synchronize your NVTs perfectly fine. Now, once again, like I said, this can take a while to fully then update and synchronize, especially the NVTs, because the scanner will actually restart as well. But once all that is done, you will be good to perform your scans once again, which is actually going to be great because then you will have the latest CVEs, the latest CPEs, everything at the latest. It will be the latest based on the Greenbone community feed. So if you do notice that you aren't picking up the same vulnerabilities as, say, your Nessus scanner, which we will be looking at the Tenable Nessus Essentials in the next videos. That is because the Greenbone community feed mostly focuses on what Greenbone thinks is more of like a personal or home-based system. Now, they'll still have server OSs on there, especially the Linux ones, but things that are more aimed towards enterprise level will not be in the Greenbone community feed. So again, if this is something that you're using in a production work environment, depending on what systems you have, OpenVAS Community Edition might not quite get everything that you need. You might have to upgrade to the OpenVAS Basic, which is a paid license, very similar to how Nessus is. The only benefit is if you have less than 16 hosts, that's where Nessus Essentials is really handy because they give you access to the full-blown feeds that they actually have for Nessus Expert and Nessus Professional, but they just limit how many hosts that you can actually scan. And we will be taking a look at that next week. We'll go over how to install Nessus on Kali Linux, and then we'll go over on how to launch the different scans on the Nessus Essentials, similar to how we did it with OpenVAS. And then we can keep going on with continuing our cybersecurity lab with anything that you guys also want to see. So if there's something else that I haven't mentioned yet that we're going to be looking at and you want to see that, you don't quite understand how it works, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to include that in our cybersecurity lab. Hopefully you guys liked this video. Hopefully this will fix up if you guys have any issues with OpenVAS on not being able to scan because your feeds are out of date. This should actually fix that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys on the next video.